and I would love for you to be engaged there. If you don't want to create a post while you're in the session so you can hang on every word, which I hope I'm that inspiring, you can use hashtag itspossible with no apostrophe for the grammarians in the room in your social post. And I didn't have the chance before my talk today to use the conference hashtag D63 conference, and I heard that we're going to be using that hashtag going into the future for future conferences for those tech-savvy people that want to create a social media post. I'm Denise Reed, and since this is a session that I don't get to be introduced by someone, I'll share a little bit about myself so you'll know my background and where I come from. So welcome to Mindset is Everything. At the end of the talk, I hope that you can walk away to determine that mindset is important to the impact on your life, that you've learned how mindset influences your habits, which is really key here, and to make mindset practical and real for your life. I've had an interesting adventure with understanding the power of mindset for my own business and to realize the impact of it all when you're setting goals. I love that you're taking notes. Feel free to take pictures of any of the screenshots as we're going along. I found that to be a great cheater tip, unless writing is a really good thing for you to help you remember a point. You can also, if you don't want to take notes and you want to have access to my PowerPoint with the web links that are embedded for some of the things that I'm referencing here, feel free to sign up here at the front desk or leave me your business card. I'll be happy to give you mine so we can connect on social media afterward if you'd like to do that. And make sure that you use the It's Possible hashtag if you share any of the points. That would make me very happy, because that means that I've left a positive impact on you during my talk today. I thought it would be awesome to share one of my favorite all-time quotes to help you understand where my headset is, not the literal hardware piece, but where my mindset is. All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind to wake and find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, and I think that's why you're here, and women, for they may act on their dreams and make it possible. T.E. Lawrence. I have a long family history of dreamers that do. And by do, I mean we've been known to make things happen in our lives. I have some family members that have overcome great obstacles. They've been immigrants, they've been widows, they've had polio as a young man, and been diagnosed with brain cancer. I also have an orphan or two and quite a bit of poverty. So I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, in case you were wondering. And ultimately, I don't have time to delve into all the interesting family history, which there are some nuts and fruits involved. But I will share with you that we have made some significant impact in building a few businesses along the way. Mindset is the difference between you and fill in the blank. My top 3 things are chocolate cake, I have an addiction, I have a very difficult time saying no if you put a piece of chocolate in front of me, exercise, and I'm going to share how that has changed in my life through some changes in some habits, and your goals and my goals. Your mindset actually can help you accomplish all of those things. Not eating as much chocolate cake right now, exercising more currently, and my personal goals. I would like to share with you that I currently have 2 businesses. I started out with, as a normal American person, I graduated with my high school degree. I pursued my associate's degree. It only took me 6 years to accomplish it. And later in my 30s, I was able to achieve my bachelor's degree while working at Shaw Industries for over 10 years full-time and also holding a part-time position at that time. So it hasn't been an easy experience to coast through my life. I'm married, I have 3 stepchildren, and I have 4 grandchildren, so you know a little bit more personal information about me. And I think it's important that you have a positive mindset to help you overcome what difficulties you might face in life. And I hope as a result of my talk that you'll have a more positive mindset, or at least understand how to pursue it in your own life. And for the sake of today's discussion, and as every good Toastmaster at a club meeting should have a word of the day or the week or the month, so you can grow your vocabulary, I decided that it would be good to share what my meaning for mindset is, so you can wrap your head around it. It is to establish your attitude or perspective, not anyone else's, just yours, and it's how you perceive the world around you. And I've done a little bit of study on this. I don't have a PhD, I don't have a master's degree on this topic, but I've been doing a lot of reading because I'm trying to coach myself to keep in that positive mindset, and I hope that you will too. I actually stumbled across this amazing woman, and there's been some talk in some of our sessions about TED Talks. I'm addicted to watching them even before I became a Toastmaster. And I ran across Carol S. Dweck. She's a PhD, and she has determined that there are 2 camps. I would like to see, not knowing what the definition is, but just contemplating your definition of the term, how many of you think that you're a fixed mindset? Raise your hand. Do you have a fixed mindset about your perspective on the world?
About everything?
Well, it could be. You have the opportunity to change, but if you think you have a fixed mindset, all right, Lily, you're going to step into that camp. Okay, the rest of you, should I assume that you have a growth mindset by a raising of hands? Ooh, that's awesome. So if you get my presentation, you can just click through the links and actually take Dr. Dweck's test to see which mindset you actually are. And I'm going to share today, according to Dr. Dweck, what she means by fixed mindset. And she was prompted by her students in giving this lecture about fixed and growth mindset to actually write the book on it. So if you want to read her book, it's out there. And according to her, if you have a fixed mindset, Lily, you believe that you either have it or you don't. In the words of Lady Gaga, you were born this way. It's an awesome thing if you're Lady Gaga. Growth mindset means that you believe with effort and dedication that you can achieve anything. And that's what I love about being part of Toastmasters, is it encourages you to step into the leadership roles and actually accomplish what you set out to do as a speaker or in lines of management for the company that you're involved in, or your coaching practice, or whatever comes up in your life. And in the words of Winston Churchill, I totally agree with him to never, never give up. If you're persistent enough over time, I truly believe that you can accomplish any goal. In my younger years, not as much so, I love to paint and draw and do creative things. I don't do it quite so much now. And I stumbled across this illustration of the Reuben vase. And as you can see in the center here, it's white. And on the edges, if you look closely, you can see the 2 faces facing each other. And I have come to believe that mindset is a lot like that. There's all kinds of perspectives on life and topics and opinions that people might have. And I think visually, I learn visually, and I thought it was fun to think about the Reuben vase and realize that I may have a perspective on something in the world that I understand, but there might be an opposing view, just like the vase or the two faces in this illustration by Edgar Reuben in his thesis from 1915. And you'll also be intrigued that everyone seems to experience the world differently, and hopefully by the conversations today and some of the facts that I'm sharing, you'll have a different perspective on it. Come on in, Carlos. I don't know, how many of you have children and possibly grandchildren in your lives? Oh, almost everybody. And if you've done any babysitting that I did in my younger years, I ran across these fun puzzles, and I always thought it was, where's Waldo? And I did some research to try to find this illustration, and it's really, where's Wally? And he always wears this similar striped shirt and hat, and you can see him in the little bitty icon, but the pictures are really, really busy, and the point of the picture is to try to find Wally. And your mindset also plays that same game with you every single day. It's like the Where's Wally? You're looking for those habitual things that happen in your life. Just think about what you do to wake up in the morning. You may wake up and you may roll out of bed and you have to stumble into the kitchen to have a cup of coffee before you can start your day. Or maybe you hit the snooze button, 2 or 3 times, so you set it early to kind of gently, if you can call jarring noises to wake you up, get up in the morning. So you have these habits that you're forming, so you don't have to think anymore about it. It just comes to you naturally in your experience. And using this illustration helps you understand you have all this information coming to you and you're filtering it, looking for those common things so you don't have to think anymore. And you can just go into autopilot. I always thought it was fun to try to find Wally in these pictures, and I started thinking about the fact that you go into autopilot because you have these presuppositions that if X happens, then X is the result. And so that shuts down your thinking. And you miss some opportunities maybe to understand or have a greater understanding about something, because if X happens, X is the result, and you don't think about it anymore. Just like finding Wally, you can circle him on the picture so you know you don't have to look there anymore because you've already done that. And your mindset helps you filter out those things that happen to you in life, just like the Where's Wally picture. Okay, so what, you say? So we've determined what mindset is, and I thought it was fun while I was developing the talk to think about life is, and you fill in the blank, or I always, and fill in the blank. And I've decided that I was going to be positive, but how was I going to keep that positive attitude? Sometimes things happen and it doesn't always go well. If you want to set me off, have my IT fail when I'm working on a deadline. Who hasn't experienced that? Or come to conference and find out that you're going to be in the room and you went and talked to the people 3 sessions before you're supposed to be there, and you said, oh, I need this podium. Could you put it in here? Oh, yes, Miss Reed, that'll be fun. I said, could I have this table? Because they were all sitting in the room. Sure, you can do that. And then, surprise, it's a whole different room, and you have a TV, and you have a corner. But I had a totally great mindset about it. I thought, all right, this is a bigger room. I'm going to have more people. Woo! And so I've started playing this game with myself. And my staff members periodically give me a hard time when technology annoys me, because I'll sit in my office and I have a wall and a door, and when the wind tunnel is not on in our front lobby, they can hear, you know, if I'm carrying on a conversation with somebody periodically, if they're not listening to music or whatever, and I'll growl like a dog when my technology is aggravating me. And I'll go in there and I'll just go, "Urgh," instead of cussing like a sailor, you know, that doesn't go well. And so I try to keep a positive mindset, and I'm not always successful. And I thought, I have got to stop growling, because you're bringing that negative energy in the room with you because you're growling, and the technology might not like that negative influence of a growl. So I don't want to make it any worse, and I've decided, okay, now I'm going to start cheering instead, because it's an opportunity to learn. Woohoo! It doesn't always work, I'm just saying, but I'm trying to keep a positive mindset about working through technology issues, as I'm sure you can all relate. And with that being said, I've tried to develop some positive habits, like going woohoo when my technology fails, instead of cussing like a sailor or growling. And I thought for today's conversation again that it would be great to share my definition of a habit, and to point out that a habit comes with little or no thought. You're on autopilot. It's like at 10 o'clock when you hit that sugar low at night and you're watching TV and you go, there is ice cream in the freezer, I'm going to get some. And then you find out that you've eaten a whole half gallon by yourself. Or you're walking through the grocery aisle and you're going, oh, this is the freezer section.
Oh.
I could get some, what is the Bert and Jerry's? Ben and Jerry's. I had to think about that because I don't buy it that often, because that's the really good stuff. But you could do that on autopilot as you're going through the grocery store. And I thought it was really, really interesting how many, once I started thinking about habits that I had, that I really had so many habits. And I'm going, holy mackerel, I could almost live on autopilot if I was not disrupted by technology failure or people needing something that I wasn't anticipating on providing. So think about your own life and maybe go through your day now with a raised level of awareness of how many habits you might actually have. I had the absolute thrill to read or actually listen to the Cliff Notes. I am an Audible addict. I have a subscription and I meticulously listen to Audible books because I have an hour commute one way every day. So I have 2 hours in the car, and I want to do something that's engaging and educational instead of mindlessly singing my favorite tunes on some radio station. And I decided that I was going to listen to The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And he actually reached out to some MIT researchers, and because of my corporate quality experience at Shaw Industries, there is an actual process to a habit. And I was going, woo, somebody's defined it now. We've got it clear, it's a circle, I get the shape, it means it's going to happen over and over again. So there's a cue, a routine, and a reward. And if you think about every habit you have, there's something that triggers you to go do that. So for instance, my technology fails, my immediate reaction has been in the past to growl loudly instead of cuss like a sailor, and I just get excessively disturbed about it. And then I'm admitting that there's a candy bowl like less than 10 feet from me, and I go and raid the candy bowl. And it's a horrible, horrible thing, although the candy is really delicious, and I try to only carry the good stuff, just so you know. If I'm going to have a habit, I want to make sure that I do it well. And I think it's really interesting that it took MIT researchers to actually figure out this process of a habit, because I certainly couldn't. I just knew that I had some. I didn't realize that there was a process and you could identify the parts to it. So here we go. You have a routine, and that is the secret of a habit. So if you have a habit, if you can recognize the routine part of it, you can change it. This is gold dust, people. And I'll share an example of just how golden it is. And Charles Duhigg pointed out that if you truly want to change a habit, if you change the routine between the cue and the reward, you can shift it. I was going, yes, finally! And you can practice a new positive routine, and the more you create or participate in this positive routine, the more likely you are to shift it. And I have also learned that you may not be able to take a large leap into shifting this habit, but you can take a small little baby step to move in the right direction. And one thing, and I'm sorry I can't give credit where credit is due, but in all my excessive reading of blog posts and books, someone shared with me that if you take one positive step a day, by the end of a year, you have taken 365 steps in the right direction. So I hope to encourage you to do this thing. And Charles Duhigg also mentions that you can't change a bad habit, but you can shift it. So the more you replace with the good, the more likely you are to reduce your exposure to the bad. I would like to find out in the room how many have clothes racks with wheels somewhere in their house. It's called a stationary bicycle.
Oh.
That they're not using. I also have a stationary bicycle. And over 10 years ago, I fell and broke my ankle. And I kept coming up with excuses over and over again why I couldn't exercise. My ankle would bother me if I stand for an extended period of times or don't wear my orthotic shoes. My ankle swells and it gives me a little bit of pain, so it tends to be annoying. And after you've worked a 9 or 10 hour day and you've driven an hour to get home, you're not really motivated to exercise after that. And I started looking at all the excuses as to why I wouldn't exercise. And I'm sure we could probably create a list of about 100 things with this size room of people in it on why you could not accomplish something you set out to do. And so I started thinking about what the MIT researchers found out and what Charles Duhigg shared in his book about the power of habit. And I thought, okay, I'm going to take a baby step. So my stationary bicycle had a bolt that was missing. So I went and replaced the bolt that was missing on my stationary bicycle. You'll be happy to know I wasn't using it as a clothes rack. It was a dust gatherer instead. And I decided that after I got the bolt replaced, okay, now I have no more excuses. My bicycle works. My ankle has technically cured. I don't have to walk with crutches. I'm not in a wheelchair anymore. So my only excuse was how tired I was at night. So I decided that I was going to shift my exercise routine in the morning.
Yep.
So I started thinking about how really mind-shifting, positive people create change in their life. And one of my phrases that I always share with my staff, I want our processes in the office to be a don't think, do, and let's achieve a reward from the participation. And I said, okay, I'm shifting my exercise to the morning. My bicycle now works. So when I get up in the morning in my pajamas and crazy bedhead, I go in, I set a 15-minute timer on my phone, and I pedal my brains out for 15 minutes. and you will be happy to know dust does not gather on my stationary bicycle anymore. And I have been riding my bicycle now for over 90 days in the morning. 15 minutes. Woohoo! I'm on the road to good health. I have created an accountability group. If you'd like to follow me on Facebook, I will monotonously now post every day whether I ride my bicycle or not. And you can chime in. Okay, I would like to see all arms that look like this in the room. Really? Okay, 4, 5, 6.
Exercise.
Yes, this is a Fitbit that tracks your steps. Okay, I am now tracking my steps and posting that as well. So I would love to chime in and find out for kicks and grins just how many steps that you're able to accomplish. I will admit I haven't reached 10,000. Yesterday I did 6,300, which is big. My average has only been about 3,000 a day.
Today, 7,700 right now.
Oh, go! So it's important that you create a fan club and that you support someone else that's also trying to accomplish the same task. It'll motivate you to keep going, right, Bert?
Yep, you bet.
All right, here we
Come
go.
on.
Here is another cool thing. This is another great TED Talk. Mel Robbins, she is just phenomenal to watch. I can't imagine that there would be a bad TED Talk because there's so much coaching before you actually get to do it. She has a 20-minute TED Talk, and she actually wrote the book on the 5-second rule. And she says that it has changed her life. And what she does is whenever she doesn't want to do something, she decides that she's going to count down to create the shift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then she's off and doing whatever it is that she hesitated about before. And she has actually shared in her book some of the scientific facts of creating a shift in your life. And she's just an amazing, dynamic woman. And she owns the room. I've actually seen her present to an arena full of people. And she's also presented with Success Magazine in one of their conferences just on this topic alone. And she is a huge motivator. And I believe that she not only has changed her life, but she's changed a lot of other people's lives because their awareness has been raised for the things that they've had habits with that needed to be shifted. And this simple countdown process has changed their life. Here are some other great things that are really practical steps that you might not have considered depending upon the circles of influence that you have. You want to start tracking when that cue is triggered. And Charles Duhigg recommends that maybe you walk around with a little card and you mark off the tick marks. Like if you're struggling to stop smoking, I don't know if there are any smokers in the room because there's been fewer and fewer of them. I have a few in my extended family that still smoke. But to raise your level of awareness to do something positive, he recommends that just even the process of counting the fact that you've experienced that trigger could change your life. I'd like to know if there's anybody in Weight Watchers in here. If you would admit that if you're not currently in Weight Watchers, have you ever been in Weight Watchers in the past? Okay, have you thought about Weight Watchers but would never do it? That would be me. So I decided, okay, what are some of the things in Weight Watchers that are successful? My mother has been in and out of Weight Watchers all her life, and she's not a really obese woman. She's just tried to be more health conscious as much as she could. And one of the things that she shared with me is her food journal. She said, oh, I've got to track all this stuff that I'm eating. And I said, well, Mother, is it making any difference? And she says, yes, I realize I'm eating too much and too often. And so I put a link in here to some food journals ideas that you might want to incorporate. If you keep a bullet journal, There may be some great ideas in here for you if you're artistic and keep a bullet journal to create a food journal within that. You might want to think about creating a physical response or shift to change your habit. Think about if something has triggered your cue to go for a walk. Some of my best ideas have come from getting up from my desk and going to the bathroom. But, you know, the phone will ring, or I'll go, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that before? And it's because you're up out of the weeds and you're moving to be able to create that shift. And Charles Duhigg even suggested that just a shift of your body weight, if you're in an uncomfortable situation, not maybe physically, well, maybe physically too, now that I'm thinking about it, could actually change your perspective a little bit. Or think about the power pose when somebody owns the room. You know, we talk about in Toastmasters how to be open to your audience, not closed off with your arms crossed in front of your chest. Even those simple physical things can change how people interpret you and who you are. I also thought it was interesting when you're thinking about perspective, what Ralph Waldo Emerson has to say here, that what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And your mindset influence not only can change your future and your present, it can change your perspective on the past. Think about the vase that I shared with you earlier in my discussion, how there's always two perspectives or more on a particular incident. If you become a reporter on your past and do it from someone else's perspective, you may find out some different things about what happened in a circumstance. So mindset influences all of those areas of your life, and just think about the trajectory if you were able to shift to a positive mindset. Remember, #itspossible. Here's an interesting thing when thinking about your goals, and not everybody points this fact out, but I will share with you that it does make it very real. If you can incorporate your 5 senses in describing a goal that you want to accomplish and apply all those 5 senses while you're setting up your goal, it makes that goal more real to you. And actually 60% of your brain is consumed with interpreting the world around you. So if you can see it, can anybody fill in the rest of the sentence? You can believe it or you can achieve it. And that's really powerful when you think about the fact that it takes 60% of your brain for seeing. It's not necessarily the physical, mechanical pieces of seeing. It's about interpreting all the information that comes to you. Now for kicks and grins, I promise not to scare you or do anything weird behind your back or like, you know, do the little, you know, bunny foo-foo behind your head. Actually closing your eyes for 1 minute, and maybe not even that long, and think about the color blue. And I know that's come up in previous conversations, like what the color blue looks like. And if you look around the room when your eyes are open, you're going to be more aware of blue in the room just because you've thought about the color blue. So if your mindset is positive when you open your eyes and think about your goals, you're going to be more aware of them. Open your eyes and see if you notice when you're looking around the room, are you more aware of blue? Or think about a common pattern that you experience. If you can take your goals and apply all 5 senses, think about the power of touch. Maybe you want to have some awesome sports car if you're a guy, and you think about how awesome that steering wheel is going to be as you're racing down the road. Maybe it's a rag top and you got the top back and it's blowing through your hair, Bert. And you're having a great time and you're jamming to your favorite tunes. Think about what that feels like to sit in those leather seats as you're going down the road. Think about what you're hearing, like what your favorite jam and rockin' song is, where you're going down the road. Think about where you're going to go in this great car that you've got now and what that experience is going to be like. I was thinking about what you would taste if you had like a victory meal or snack after you've had that great accomplishment. I'm dreaming about chocolate cake. Oh, I'm sorry. We digress here. I was going into habit mode. That's my cue. I need to write it down on my little tick mark. Think about the smell you're going to smell. Let's say you're a dancer and you're going to receive a bouquet of flowers, and hopefully it's going to be roses and they smell awesome. If you can take all of your 5 senses to actually flesh out your goal, it's going to become more real to you. And like the Where's Wally image, you're going to experience that opportunity sooner because you're looking for those doors of opportunity to open for you. Your awareness level is going to be raised. You might talk to some people about what you want to try to accomplish, so you can hear those affirmations about reaching and achieving your goal. Okay, this little girl right here is my youngest grandgirl, and her name is Ava, and in this picture she's 3. And as you can see, she's on top of the world, especially at my husband and I's house. And we love to play together, and finally, of the 4 grandchildren, I have a grandchild that thinks I'm the bomb.com finally. And she tells everyone that she talks to that she wants to grow up to be an artist like her nanny. That's me. And while we were sitting at the dining room table one day, she was watching me draw. We were just doodling and playing with crayons, and I was drawing some little animals and stuff, and she goes, "Nanny, I can't do that." And I said, "Well, Ava, you're just little, you're just learning how to draw." I said, "Let Nanny show you how to make a circle," and I made a circle. And I said, "Let me show you what a square is. This is a square." And then I said, "Oh, here's another shape," and I drew a triangle for her so she would understand the different shapes. And I said, "And when you put them all together and rearrange them different ways, you have different pictures. So if you have a square with a triangle on top, that usually looks like a house. And if you have a square and you put a circle on top and you draw some sticks out from the sides and down at the bottom, it kind of looks like a person." I said, "Ava, did you know that being an artist is not how you draw or paint? It's what you see and interpret on the page." And that is the same for your mindset. The more you understand and absorb in relation to your goal, you can create that shift just like Ava. And maybe you'll become the nanny that is the bomb.com. So I hope at the conclusion of my talk that you have come to understand the impact of mindset, that you've understand the mindset influence on your habits, and that you found some very, very practical ways to implement your shift in your life. And I would love to open up the floor if you have questions about some things that maybe you understand about mindset or habit that you'd like to share in the room. Or if you don't have any questions for me, if you'd like to sign up to get my presentation, I would love for you to be able to have these great tips. And Bert, I promised you some exercise. You ready? All right, everybody stand up. This is something really amazing. Bert's ready. He's already done his push-ups. Yes, we've done the victory march. Okay, take your hands and try not to punch out the person in front of you, but raise your hand like that, like you're you're patrolling traffic. You're gonna, yes, you're gonna stop. You got it, Bert. Okay, anything from your palm out, I want you to know, guess what? You can do nothing about it. You have no control over it. It is beyond your reach. Okay, wait, don't put your arm down. Take and turn your hand around like this and point it at your face as if it is a mirror for who you are. Guess what? You have absolute control over everything from your palm to your back. Do something with it. And I would totally relish, not on a hot dog, your input on my survey and review of my talk. If you would honor me with some feedback. If you think I sucked and you wish you would rather be in a coma, please put that on there. And let me know how much you just thought it was either thebomb.com or something you wish that you never had to repeat in life again.
Did you say you want our cards or?
Yes, I would be happy. Either way, whatever is simplest for you. Thank you, Bert. Okay.
I got notes of
You snuck up on me, man. Good to see you again. Good to see anybody.
Thank you.
You talking tonight, Flash?
Yeah.
Oh, man, good luck.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Here you go,
Luck never
Michael.
entered into it.
Thank
know
you.
that.
I did.
Oh, excuse me.